Too expensive. That's what she wrote. A creator I worked with surveyed everyone who had canceled their membership with her, and one woman's entire reason for leaving was just that. Too expensive. 15 bucks a month. Too expensive. Okay. Maybe there's something else. 3 lines down in the same survey, the same woman asked whether the creator would start making content for a reformer. If you're not in the Pilates world, a reformer is the big spring-loaded machine that is thousands of dollars easy, and that's on the cheap end. So this woman looked at a $15 a month membership, which is the equivalent of less than 3 coffees at Starbucks, and said, that's too much for me, with a multi-$1,000 machine sitting in her spare room. Here's what I need you to get, because it's the whole episode. She's not confused. She's not lying. She just handed the creator maybe the most valuable sentence in the entire survey. And I would put money on it that almost every one of you listening would have read that line, rolled your eyes, and maybe just deleted it. And that's maybe a mistake, but it's one we want to fix today. By the end of this video, you'll know how to read what your audience is actually telling you in a survey, the real message sitting underneath the words, and how to turn it into one change you can make this week. If you get this wrong, you'll do what most creators do. Drop a price that was never the problem, pile on more free content that maybe makes it worse, and stay stuck at the same subscriber count for years. But get it right, and the stuff you make might finally start landing. So a few weeks back, I gave you a job, and a lot of you actually went and did it. You did the hard part. And then you walked straight into the wall nobody warns you about, which is why I'm here. If you caught the last episode, you know the homework. And if you didn't, it's linked in the description, and there's an info card in the top right corner if you're watching this. So go back and start there, because today builds right on top of it. The homework was one thing. Stop guessing what your audience wants and go ask them. Survey your members, your leads, the people who left. Find out what they actually wake up thinking about. And a lot of you have done that. I've heard from you. I spent basically my whole week on coaching calls with people last week, on call after call, who showed up with spreadsheets of active members, leads, churned customers. The whole journey just kind of mapped, and it made me so proud. But that's the hard part, right? That's the part that everyone skips. Except here's what I have to tell you. Running the survey is not necessarily the win of the entire thing. The survey is relatively simple. The survey is just typing. The hard part that separates creators who grow from the creators who stay stuck at the same number for 2 years is what you do in the time after you get the responses. Because raw survey data, taken at face value, could walk you right off a cliff. It'll tell you to lower a price that isn't the problem. It'll tell you to build content that nobody buys. It'll tell you to give away more of the thing that maybe is quietly killing your business. So this episode is the other half. So you asked, now what? And the back half of this video is the exact method I used to turn a messy pile of survey answers into one clear decision. And that is where we're going. But before that, you have to see the trap, because almost everyone who runs a survey falls into one of 3 versions of it. And I watched all 3 happen this week. 3 versions of the same mistake. See if you catch yourself in any of them. The first one is the freeze. One of the best operators I work with, who's sharp, organized, etc., surveyed all of the segments, got clean themes back, and said to me almost word for word, knowing what to do with the information is going to be the next big question. And I loved that he said it out loud, because it's the truest thing anyone said all week. He'd done everything right, and he was standing in front of a pile of insight with not really any idea which end to pick up. And the data didn't move him. It just sat there, and that is the freeze. The second one is a literal read. This is a dangerous one because it feels like action. The survey says too expensive, so you drop your price. Survey says I want more free stuff, so you give away more free stuff. You're treating the responses like a to-do list, like the customer filled out a work order and your job is to go build it. And I get it. That can feel responsive. It can feel like listening, but you're not listening, you're transcribing. And there's a difference, and we're going to get into it. And the third one is the opposite of the freeze. It's the shrug. Yeah, I already knew that. Another creator told me flat out. She runs a survey, reads it, and goes, not surprised. I read the comments every time someone churns. I already knew. And she's not wrong, but I already knew can quietly become, so I don't need to do anything. The survey confirmed what you suspected, and then you filed it away and changed nothing. Freeze, transcribe, shrug. 3 ways to do the homework and still get nothing. So let me give you the thing underneath all three, the root cause. And here it is. A survey doesn't give you the answer. It gives you the raw material, but you are the answer. People cannot reliably tell you why they do what they do. It's not them being difficult or dishonest. It's just how people work. We're terrible, all of us, at reporting our own motivations. You ask someone why they didn't buy, and they'll reach for the most socially acceptable, least vulnerable reason on the shelf. And the easiest one to grab a lot of the time is price. Too expensive is the answer people give when they don't have the language for the real one, or when the real one is maybe too uncomfortable to say. So when your churned member says too expensive, they're not lying to you. They just can't tell you the truth because they don't fully know it themselves. Your job is not to transcribe what they say. Your job is to translate it, to sit with the raw material and ask, what's the real thing underneath? That translation is not data work. It's judgment. That's the part of your business that is uniquely, unavoidably yours. You can hire someone to run the survey. You cannot hire someone to understand your people for you. Let's go back to my reformer lady. Remember, I said she handed that creator the single most valuable sentence in the whole survey, and that almost all of you would have deleted it or at least overlooked it. And here's why it's so valuable. That contradiction of too expensive, please build me content for my $1,000 machine, is the most useful thing in her entire survey. Most people would just throw it out. Well, that doesn't make sense. Ignore it. No. The contradiction isn't the noise. That contradiction is the signal. Because what is it actually telling you? It's telling you these people have money. They've spent money, real money, on getting fit. They are not in any meaningful sense broke. So when they say $15 a month is too expensive, they cannot possibly mean it costs too much. $15 is literally 3 coffees. I had a creator in Paris this week genuinely outraged about it. She's like, the next latte is €7. How is my entire library only 20? So here's the rule I'm going to give you. And I want you to write it down. Price is only ever expensive in the absence of value. So read that back. Price is only expensive in the absence of value. When someone says too expensive, 99% of the time, they're not telling you to lower your price. They're telling you that you have not yet made them feel what it is worth. The number didn't fail. The message failed. They got to the page, and what you said you were selling, 400 videos, a content library, community access, was not worth $15 to them because 400 videos isn't what they wake up wanting. The transformation is, and you described the warehouse instead of the destination. So you don't open your pricing page. You open your messaging. The contradiction told you exactly where to look. And actually, do me a favor while you're there. Drop the most contradictory thing a customer has ever told you in the comments. The "I'd pay anything for this" from someone who then ghosted at checkout. The "it's too expensive" from someone with a boat. I read them, and the weird ones are my favorite because the weird ones are often where the money is. If you only stay for one part of this episode, make it this one. Because I'm about to tell you about a creator who read his survey wrong on purpose, did the opposite of what it literally said, and watched his trials jump from 5 to 20 plus. It's the most counterintuitive thing I'm going to say all day. This is the second version of the mistake, and it's the most dangerous one because it is the clearest example all week of why the literal read will sink you. Different creator in a sports coaching membership with a huge library, over 1,000 videos, runs the survey, and his leads, the people who haven't bought yet, name free content as one of the top reasons they haven't subscribed. If you read that literally and transcribe it, what does it tell you to do? Give them more free content, right? They like the free stuff. Give them more free stuff. Warm them up. That's the work order read. But he didn't do that. He sat with it and realized those same leads were also asking for more free content in another part of the survey. Blocker and request, another contradiction. And instead of throwing it out, he followed it. And here's what he found. He'd started his membership years ago with 120 videos and made about 20 of them free, 1 in 6, which is reasonable. Fast forward, and he's got over 1,000 now, and he never changed the ratio. 1 in 6 is still free. Except 1 in 6 of over 1,000 is a mountain. He was giving away an enormous, bottomless library of free content. 7 mentions of free on his homepage. He counted it. And his leads were doing exactly what any rational person would do. They were living in the free content forever. Why would you pay for the cow when there's this much free milk? So the literal read, give them more free content, was the precise opposite of the right move. The right move was to pull free content back, and he did. Rewrote the homepage, got intentional about what lives in front of the paywall versus behind it, reweighted his stuff towards the thing people actually said they valued. And guess what? Trials went up by almost 5 times from reading past the words in the survey. So here is the principle. There is a difference between random acts of content and giving someone the transformation for free. If your free stuff is random, a tip here, a workout there, fine, that's marketing. But if your free content accidentally adds up to the entire journey, the full program, point A all the way to point B, you have removed the only reason to ever pay you. You're not building a funnel, you're building an exit. And look, I'll be honest with you about my own version of this. I give away basically everything I know about marketing and growth for free on this show, on calls, in the Growth Memo. And people ask me, doesn't that hurt? But I think it doesn't, and here's why. And it's the exact same principle. The real transformation in my work is not the information. You can have all of the information. The transformation is the intentionality, the consistency, the personalization that only comes from someone actually working with you. That information was never the thing behind my paywall. So the question for you is the same question it was for him. What is actually the transformation you sell? And are you giving it away by accident? The survey is not going to answer that for you, but the contradiction in it will point you at the door. And that give it away thing, that's not just a philosophy I talk about. It's the whole reason the Growth Memo exists. The memo is the newsletter where I put all of it, the frameworks, the prompts, the full breakdowns, the resources, the stuff I would put behind a paywall if I were a different kind of person. It goes out there every week for free. There's nothing to buy right now. I want to be very clear about that. So if anything today landed for you, get on that list, not because I'm selling you something, but because that list is how you stay close to this. It's how you hear it the first time I open up a free training or a round of group coaching or whatever I build next. The information is always going to be free. The rooms where we actually do the work together, those are the things worth being near. So the link is in the show notes. Go get on it. I want to tell you something I don't think I've said on here. A while back, I got a new boss, super senior, sharp, and I'll just say it, wasn't sure how to talk to her, which is kind of embarrassing given what I do for a living. I teach communication. I coach people on exactly this. And I'm sitting there before our first one-to-one with this kind of anxious hum of, I don't know how this person wants to be communicated with, and I'm scared of getting it wrong. And my instinct was to guess, to imagine what she probably wanted and perform that, which is exactly what I just spent years telling creators not to do with their audiences. Stop guessing, stop performing at the imaginary version of the person. So I did the thing I'd tell you to do. I stopped guessing and I went to the source. Before she ever started, I went and found everything she'd said publicly, recommendations, a podcast, all talks, all those things, her actual words, and studied them, not to game her, but to get onto her level, to get onto her frequency, to understand how she thinks before I ever opened my mouth. And then once we started working together, every one-on-one, I kept a record so that when I needed to bring her something important, I could ask myself honestly, how would she best receive this? Not how would I best say it? How would she best hear it? And here's the reason I'm telling you this. The whole thing worked because I stopped trusting my guess and went to the source. That's the game. That's what this survey is. It's you refusing to perform at the imaginary customer in your head and going to find the real one's actual words instead. But, and this is the part that connects to everything we've talked about, collecting her words was never the point. Reading them was, studying them, translating them. The collecting was easy. Anyone can Google someone. The work was in the understanding, which is the same as your survey. Exactly the same. Okay, now here's the method I promised you at the top. You've got the responses. You're not going to transcribe them and you're not going to freeze. So how do you actually translate them? 2 passes. Pass 1 is the analyst pass. You take every single response, the whole lot, and you give it to AI, Claude, ChatGPT, whatever you use with the instruction. And the instruction matters. You're a qualitative research analyst for a membership business. Analyze only what respondents explicitly said, don't invent, surface recurring themes, the most common blockers, the desired transformations, and the dominant emotional tone for each segment separately. One of my creators ran almost exactly that prompt this week, and it handed him back his blockers, pain points, and the emotional tone of each segment cleanly in about a minute. That's pass 1, and it turns a spreadsheet into a map. But the map isn't the destination, which brings us to pass 2, the contradiction hunt. This is the one that you need to do. You can go back through and you go looking for the thing that doesn't add up, the too expensive but build me reformer content, the free content as a blocker and request, the I love everything from someone who left. Find the contradictions, and instead of deleting it, ask the question that unlocks it. What would have to be true for both of these to make sense at the same time? Too expensive and wants the reformer? What has to be true? It was never about money. It was about value. Loves free content and won't buy because of it? What has to be true? You're giving away the transformation. The contradiction is not a flaw in your data. It is your data pointing with both hands at the exact place you need to change something. So that's the translation. Pass 1 tells you what they said. Pass 2 helps you understand what they meant. So here's your assignment. And like last time, it's one thing, not a list, one. You already have the survey results because I told you to run it last time, and I'm choosing to believe you did. If you didn't, go run it, then come back. Everyone else, take your results, run the analyst pass with one prompt, then do the contradiction hunt. Find the single sharpest contradiction in there, the one answer that makes no sense next to another answer, and make one change based on what that's telling you. That's it. One survey, one prompt, one contradiction, one change. Not a rebrand, not a re-everything, one change driven by one thing your audience told you sideways that you were almost about to ignore. Rewrite the headline, pull back one piece of free content, move a button, one. Because the creators who grow are not the ones with the most data. They're the ones who can take a pile of contradictory human noise and pull one true decision out of it. That's the skill. So go practice it this week. Now, I know the gap between run the analyst pass and hunt the contradiction and actually sitting down to do it is real. So I built you the thing that closes it. And remember that list I told you to get on. That's where this is waiting this week. In this week's growth memo, I'm putting the survey decoder. It's the exact analyst prompt that you can copy, paste, plus a one-page contradiction worksheet that walks you through the what would have to be true for both of these to make sense question, with the examples from this episode worked all the way through. If last time I handed you the survey, this time I'm handing you a decoder ring for what comes back. It's free, it's in the growth memo, and the link is wherever you're listening. Go grab it before you open your spreadsheet. It'll save you the staring at it part. Now, I'll leave you where we started, my reformer lady. The one who told me in writing that it was too expensive and then asked for content for the most expensive thing she owns. She wasn't confused, she wasn't wrong. She was doing the most human thing in the world, which is telling me the easy truth because she didn't have the words for the real one. And the only reason that survey was worth anything at all is that someone was willing to sit with it and ask what she actually meant. That someone is you. For your people, it can only ever be you. Your audience is going to keep doing this. They'll continue to tell you it's the price when it's the value. They'll ask for free when they mean make me believe. They will never, ever hand you the answer wrapped clean. Reading them, that's the job. That's the part no tool or agency or contractor is going to do for you. And it's the part that once you get good at it, changes everything. That's it for this one. I'll see you in the next one.